All right, what's up, everybody? Back with another chat with Corin. These are actually my lowest rated videos, so everybody's got to share them because I got a special guest today. So, since we're in Atlanta, I figured all my family's here, and I had to get one of them to come on and do a chat with me. And I figured there was no better guest than my nephew here, Mikewarz.
Mikewarz.
So Mikewarz is, how old are you now, Mikey?
I'm 19.
So Mikey's 19, so we got to get a younger crowd on Corin's World. So I figured I'd reach out to the younger community because they're doing a whole bunch of different stuff right now that I'm unaware of. I'm out the loop on music, on what else are you guys doing that's funky? Drinking, like Snapchatting.
We keep it old school sometimes still. But
Sometimes they show a little respect to the OGs and, you know, they'll tip their caps to us. And Michael will come to me and be like, yo, I respect what you're doing, cuz.
Yeah.
I appreciate, you know, the way you're wearing your shoes or something like that. So let me take it back a little bit. So I got two stepbrothers. So I have a brother, Jed, which I did a chat with. And I have my sister, Davina, which is my lowest rated chat. She was pretty boring. So you got big shoes to fill, homie.
I mean, I'm not scared of Davina. Maybe Jed.
Okay. You gotta come with straight facts because like I said before this, people will roast you straight up in the comment section. So come at Mikey. If you come at the king, me, you best not miss. But Mikey, you could come at him because he ain't got no fire back in him.
No.
I haven't seen it yet at least. So I have two stepbrothers, Brian and Rob. Rob's a little bit more low key, but I haven't seen Bobby P, but everybody knows
Bobby P.
That's his alter ego. So everybody knows once they go drinking, there's another side of you that comes out. So my stepbrother Rob's got another side that one day he'll come on the podcast and show you. But my other stepbrother Brian, he's as we say, loco in la cabeza. So
That's my pops.
That's his father. So it's a little surreal because I have written down here, Michael's getting nervous because I was writing some notes.
Yeah.
But I was talking to him earlier, and I specifically remember when Michael was born. So I don't know, for people watching, you know, if you've ever seen somebody, like, if you can remember someone being born and then to a point now where they're talking, they're like a functioning human being. So it's crazy for me because I don't think I'm that old being 30, but he is 19, and I remember being at the hospital when he was born and seeing, you know, different levels of like his growth, which is it's just nuts to me that, you know, he's a human being now. And I asked him if he remembered me being at the hospital when he was born.
No.
So he don't remember that.
Maybe in pictures, but I don't remember that.
But I try to take him through because, so I try to think when I was a kid, I had different levels of swagger, but I always was consistent with my theme. You know, I didn't change things up too drastically. But you had a couple different phases of you know, trendiness, swag that you were trying out. So one of the stages, so take us through some of your stages from what you remember, because I remember one of your stages was the Justin Bieber phase, which he had the hair flipped to the side. He had the
neck twitch.
The neck twitch. This dude like was Night at the Roxbury, if you haven't seen that video yet, but he was twitching with his hair. Because I guess Bieber used to, when he first started, he had the fluff and he used to fluff it back. So Mikey did that all the time. But what was it? What was it about different fads that you eventually came upon where you're at now, which is, you know, your Gucci or your Burberry? Take me through some of your different phases of swagness at being a 19-year-old.
I'd say my low point was like the Bieber phase. I wore.
But what was it about Justin Bieber? Because he like, Justin Bieber captured like the whole world.
Ladies loved him.
So ladies but he was like young. So like you just saw his swag and was just like.
He was relatable. He was just relatable.
Yeah.
Like,
so that was like your middle school years, right?
Nah, that was like grade school, like early middle school. Like,
Okay.
But those stages were bad because I've always been like a stocky guy. So like when I tried rocking the skinny jeans, like they didn't really look too good, but I thought they looked good. But
there's different phases because when I was a kid, there was these things called Jenkos, which you probably don't know about.
Oh hell no.
Jenkos were these pants that were like, they looked like parachute pants.
Oh.
So for me, people wearing Jenkos was like, that was the thing. You would be like, oh, that's hot. But like if someone were to wear some pants like that now, like some MC Hammer pants, you can't do that.
I mean, like there's a trendy people that wear that type of stuff that like the Kanye West wear, like the streetwear, like ripped jeans.
So let me ask you about that. I'll fast forward a little bit. So I knew you when you were younger, but so you went to a high school that was pretty preppy, like, let me paint a picture of his high school. A lot of the kids that are there are basically, I don't want to disrespect your high school too bad and say that, like, they'd be the kids wearing a MAGA hat, like, they're very preppy, like, are kids in your high school rocking with, like, Kanye? Like, are they behind him? Like, not you, because I think you've sort of, there was a time, and I'll keep it real, when the last election, I think you were young, you probably couldn't even vote yet, but you were like, yeah, Trump's that dude, Trump's that guy. Yeah. I hope you grew out of that phase.
I mean, like, I'm not going to get into politics, but it's like
people want to hear that joint, man.
All right.
No, but I'm saying
where I'm from, Westchester, you know, it's a wealthy area. And I went to Rye. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that area, but
there's people from, like, Israel.
I basically lived in a bubble.
Okay.
Oh shit. I lived in a bubble. Like, I didn't really know much outside of me. It was just, like, kept it real, like, very, like, wealthy kids. Wore a lot of Vineyard Vines, khaki shorts.
Yeah. The boat
button
shoes.
downs, Sperry's.
Yeah.
And then you had the kids, like, I don't know, like, sometimes they just wear, like, sweatpants, T-shirts, hoodies. Just, like, normal stuff.
It's a very affluent neighborhood. And, like, to put Mikey in perspective, his father's super hardworking dude, always grinding. And, you know, they were fortunate to live, like, you know, on the borderline where he still went to the school. So he was in a position to see kids of, like, very, very, very wealthy, whose parents are probably big Trump supporters because they, you know, they get tax breaks and this and that. But, like, for me, it was interesting to see a lot of kids your age, which we see now. Like, there was that Native American, I don't know if you saw that, but there was a Native American dude in Washington who was, like, beating his drum, and he went face to face with, like, a kid from, I think he was from, like, Alabama. And the kid was, like, smirking in his face, and people were upset because, you know, they were like...
That was recent, right?
Just recent, yeah.
I heard about that. I don't know too much, but...
Yeah, there was, like... So people were basically saying there was, like, these privileged, like, you know, like, white boys, like, face-to-face with this Native American dude who's, like, you know, probably faced a lot of adversity and stuff like that. So, to me, it was, like, interesting to always hear you, you know, like, oh, Trump's that man, he's confident, like, you know, he's got this swagger. When in reality... Like, like, all of that boasting and does and all that, like, you know, not apologizing, to me shows, like, insecurity, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, it's something, I never understood that, like, kids couldn't associate that fake, bravado confidence with, like, insecurity.
No, so, like, I'm sure kids around, like, the United States felt this way, too, in certain areas, but, like, it wasn't, like, kids my age, like, you don't really look into politics that much. Like,
True.
The average kid, like, you don't really look into all that stuff. You just, like, see, like,
a
Trump,
guy with
like, big
business.
Yeah, exactly. Big businessman, like, big mojo, like, hot shot.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't admire that, but you, like, look at him like, oh, yo, this dude's, like, a badass. Like, he doesn't give, like, no fuck. Like, you know what I mean?
But, so now you'll be able to vote. Do you think you'll be more conscious of, like, who you vote for now that, you know, you actually... have a say in, like, who gets chosen? Like, before all of this, I don't...
Oh, absolutely. I didn't give it much thought because, like, I didn't, like, have an option to even vote.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't like getting involved in politics in general, but, like, voting, like, why not? Like, if you like somebody and you want them to be president or whatever you're voting for, like, why not do it? Like, you're voicing your opinion and, like, your choice.
Yeah.
But I would take, like, more into consideration being that, like, it's more serious and, like, it's the real deal, like, you're really putting in a vote, so...
No, it's good to hear that from you, because, like I said, I mean, like, you were fortunate to go to a school that was very affluent, where a lot of kids don't necessarily have that. Like, I was fortunate, my school in New Rochelle was a good mix. There was black, there was Spanish, there was Latino. I always say Spanish, and people roast me in the comments section saying Spanish is from Spain. But there was a good mix of people, so, like, I feel like you were in a good spot at Rye because you saw your father as like a hardworking dude who was grinding it out, but then you also saw the other extreme of it where it's like, I'm sure you went to kids' houses and you were probably like, this is OD. You know?
Absolutely.
Which is cool to see, you know, and something that you were good at football, so you involved yourself in sports and it allowed you to, you know, break down barriers of, like, becoming friends with other people.
Oh, like, I made, like, tons of friends through lacrosse, football, rugby, playing basketball, like, I don't know, man.
So some people out there, I've been to some, we'll kick it in high school a little bit right now.
All right. The days.
I've been to some crazy house parties, but I can't even fathom what some of the parties that you were at because, like, one, I feel like and correct me if I'm wrong, but like when parents are extremely wealthy like that, they sort of have like a little bit less regard for their children. It's more like wild out, do whatever you want. You know,
like it's like balance because like they're either like out on a business trip,
exactly,
like,
they're
gone
usually
for the
not
weekend,
home.
like like house to yourself, like once you're at a certain age, like all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So like the parties I used to go to, we would be like, if someone had an open house, it would be because their parents like went to the city for the night, you know, and they would be home at 11 because they got either work the next day. Whereas your house parties were probably like the parents were in, you know, Italy, like on the beaches of whatever beaches are in Italy, for like 3 weeks, and the crib was wide open, and like the parents probably gave money to the police department so you guys could wild out even more. So take me back to one of your craziest house parties, or something OD that like kids like I picture. You ever see that movie Project X?
Yeah, no, I got
kids
it.
jumping
I got
off
you.
the roof.
I got you.
All right, break it down.
No kids jumping off the roof, but all right. So I'm not gonna expose the person's name, but Halloween night, I'm pretty sure it was my junior year. It was my junior year of high school, so I was already in that drinking, smoking, whatever the hell you want to call it phase.
Yep.
I was wilding, and me and my boys were having our pregame at my friend's house. You know, just a couple guys chilling, slamming some, and then we get a text that like one of the girls in our friend group was like, "Come over to our house."
Open
like,
crib.
Yeah, open crib. So we're there, and then I was friends with some of the upperclassmen like through football, and then they hit me up. They were like, "Yo, like, come through this house, like wild." Like, they made it simple, like just come through. It's freaking like it's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, there were speakers probably about like 6 feet tall, side by side in the living room. I walk in, I felt like I was in that movie. I saw all my boys. They were like twisted, like one eye looking this way, one eye looking that way while they're talking to me. Kids were standing on the kitchen counter, like pouring beer.
And so, what time do parties go till and ride? Because like I said, these parents usually got the police department on the payroll. Usually away forever. So, like, those parties could probably go early in the morning or something like that.
Yeah. The thing is, like, we got a new commissioner.
Commissioner?
Like,
police commissioner.
Police
okay,
commissioner
okay.
for the police
I was
department.
like, police, commissioner.
So, he started cracking down later my junior year.
Uh-huh.
So, like, parties like that didn't really happen as often. But don't get me wrong, like, they'd happen.
Yeah.
And, like, we'd still have popping parties. But this was, like, we had all the sophomore grade, all the junior grade, all the senior grade in this one house. Pictures were being punched, like kids were punching mirrors, like the house was totaled, like and I feel like,
and I don't get that why it's like any party that's banging that's like just popping, kids are having a good ass time, but then there's always got to be kids that either start a fight or want to rob something or do something stupid to ruin like a good time, and I don't know who those kids are instigating, because so my brother's wife, shout out Tiffany. We were in high school.
Mm-hmm.
She threw a banger.
Really?
It was popping. But then, like, towards the middle of the party, kids want to come through and get reckless. And, like, she had this samurai sword that was, like, on her shelf. Someone took the sword, was walking around the thing, like, the party with it. She had a big forest in her backyard. Kids were just straight, like, on some Blair Witch Project in the backyard going loose. So, like, it gets me tight that there's always kids out there. And there's probably they ruin the party because it's just, like, they're tight at a girl, or
then you got the host stressing out, and it's like like everybody bounce,
and then like the whole vibe of the party, and you could tell this with anything, even in a conversation. If it's like if something's going well and it's vibing, you could just be like, this feels right. Yeah, but like if a mood changes in a party and someone gets tight and there's like people are fighting, the whole vibe just switches.
Exactly, especially when the host, like the person that invited everybody's like, get the hell out, like that's just like
it's over.
Like, what do I do with myself? Like I still got like whatever left to like get through.
So let's take it. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit now to college, and just ask about your mindset a little bit on because where I went to college was a small D3 school. It was about like 9,000, 10,000 kids, but that was like enough for me. What was your thought process behind maybe going to a small school, going to a big school, going to a party school?
I'll give the rundown. So I started for people.
Of course you're going to give the rundown, dude. I just asked you the question.
I'm just saying. I'm just letting them know. I'm just letting them know.
Okay, right, give the rundown.
For people in the Northeast and who are familiar with maybe college basketball because they got a big basketball program, I went to Quinnipiac University. smaller private school.
The ratio girls to guys, we spoke about this earlier, but it's
60,
crazy,
40,
right?
70, 30, something like that.
It's something. So if you're looking at colleges, dudes, go to Quinnipiac.
I honestly didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted like a bigger vibe. Like there's something like.
So now he's at University of Alabama, which for someone in New York, to me, is just unheard of. Someone going to like a big Southern school like that, because from what I've always seen when I've traveled, being a New Yorker, if you go anywhere outside of New York, people will be like, "Oh, you talk differently, or you dress differently, or you have a different swagger." So was it different? Like when you first walked onto University of Alabama, you went to a party or something like that. And don't get me wrong, because where you were from in Rye, a lot of those kids were wearing those hats and wearing the same shirts and boat shoes, but you still have a different swagger being from New York. Did people right off the bat say you're not from here, or like did you get a different vibe?
So like the thing is, University of Alabama, it's like extremely diverse. Like you got, because the school's so big that like you have people from everywhere. The majority of the people are like really Southern, like Tennessee, Texas, cowboy boots, jeans, like flannel, like all that stuff. But like the way I dressed, speaking like dress wise, I dress such like it's not out there, and then it's not a specific group. It would just be like athletic shorts, t-shirt, sometimes khaki shorts.
Yeah, just basic
athletic
polo,
polo,
sweatpants or something like that.
Yeah, like that stuff. So I wasn't like an outcast.
But you're still. So how much interaction do you have outside of like University of Alabama? Because like,
none.
You don't really?
No,
it's like you're still in Alabama.
Yeah, like outside Alabama, I mean, I've made trips to like NOLA with my boys, Florida. We went to Miami for spring break.
So it's not like you're going to like a post office in Tuscaloosa or something like that, where you interact with some dude with 3 teeth or something like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, like you can, but like nobody, like everybody stays on campus because like outside Tuscaloosa is like.
It's sketchy. I mean, I drove. You know what? Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say sketchy because I don't know it too well. But
it's sketchy for like people who aren't used to it. Exactly. So that's why we like you call it that.
Yeah. So I drove through, and before I started doing road trips and stuff like that, I'd never really been to like the South, like Mississippi, Alabama, really Louisiana, stuff like that. But I drove through Alabama, and I stopped off on like a post office, and like I drove through back roads of like people sitting on their porches. That like you don't know what they do, but it's like during a weekday, so whether they have a job or not, they're not there, and it's a different world from like a big city, New York, Chicago. So that's why to me, I was always like, it was interesting to me that you went to University of Alabama, but hearing that like, I think it would be cool for you to sort of like, there was this podcast, Shit Town, that was like a popular podcast that took place in Alabama. It's actually very good. For anybody who's listens to the podcast. I went there.
I drove through.
And that's what I'm saying. So like, to me, it's cool to see someone from New York like even just go to that. It's like Woodstock, Alabama, is where it took place.
Woodstock.
But it's cool to me to see someone like you who's just sort of in that bubble of Westchester, New York, go to a spot like Woodstock, Alabama, and even just see what a farm looks like, what a weary road looks like. So. Even as small as a little thing like that was, you and Isabel going to Woodstock, did that some way like make you appreciate things a little bit more?
Absolutely, because like even though like where I came from, that bubble in Westchester, like we knew that type of like stuff was out there. Like we're privileged, like we got money, like we're living life.
Yeah, like you see stuff on the news that happens out of.
I just never experienced it and like saw it with my eyes. So when that happened, I was like, damn, like seeing people like having like. I don't know, just like simply like water wells out the house to get water. Yeah. Like trailer park homes.
Yeah, man.
Like broken down cars with rust on them.
And so they stop. Stupid, but they no, it doesn't. I mean, like it's realistic, and I think people like you, people like me, who are in these bubbles in New York or in Chicago, need to like get out of their zone and see someone and interact with someone from so. Him and his girlfriend, Isabel, told me a story that they went to this Woodstock, New York. Oh, Woodstock, New York. There is a Woodstock, New York. Woodstock, Alabama. And they pulled off in front of where the guy lived from the podcast. And they were shook. They were nervous. And, like, a car pulled up next to him.
Oh, yeah.
And the dude was, like, straight Alabama, was like, oh, like... But, like, you said he was actually mad nice.
No, he was mad nice. But at first, like, you're just not used to it. Like, oh, like...
You're not used to that.
On this dirt road, it's, like, dark...
So where we're from, like if you pull off, no one's helping you. It's a wrap.
Yeah, no.
Like you got to call AAA, you got to call the tow, like you got to call whoever. works for a company to come help you. No one's really stopping to say, "Oh, are you good? Are you okay?"
That's that Southern hospitality.
That's
Like
Southern
I love it down
hospitality.
there.
So you got to experience that, which like to me opens your eyes up to like there's more than just New York. Whereas like a lot of your friends, I feel like, and I'm generalizing, stereotyping, but maybe they haven't, interacted with someone on the other side of that.
Yeah, that's not like. I mean, yeah, it's like you could declare it as like stereotyping, but like it's true.
Yeah.
Like, you're completely right.
So, I think it's awesome that you're at University of Alabama, that you're experiencing something like that, like a big school. Like a lot of people probably have went to a big school, which is just anarchy. Football team is ridiculous. The tailgating is ridiculous.
Hell yeah.
And now something you would mention you want to do, which I'm sure a lot of people have had this conversation while they're in college, is should I pledge a fraternity? Should I not pledge a fraternity? And so for me, when I went to college, I transferred to the school I was at, so I only had 2 years. So if I pledged, I would have taken like half the semester.
Half the semester, you'd be there for a year and a half.
Be there for a year and a half, and like I wanted to like sort of just experience it without being in a fraternity.
Yeah.
But for you, you still got years left in college. You're what?
Freshman.
Freshman. So you have all your years left in
I'm
college.
about to be a sophomore, so.
So what's the mindset behind rushing a fraternity?
I mean, Alabama, Greek life is a huge part of it. But at any school, you can do without being in a fraternity, like, and all that stuff. I personally, I know I'm going to be in a fraternity. I know what fraternities I'm interested in.
Yep.
Like, I've talked to the guys. I would have been in a fraternity already, but I wanted to take my time because I was a transfer student, like I said. So rushing in the spring, and this is like this at most schools, rushing in the spring isn't as formal and structured as in the fall. And especially at Alabama, it's like, you have like all these events, like meet the brothers, play basketball, barbecue, and like I wanted to like experience all that.
Yeah, no, I think at big schools like in Alabama or I know where did I go? TCU is a big school with like fraternities. Are you nervous? Because I always grew up thinking like, oh, fraternities, man, like they make you do crazy stuff, and like as I went to college, I also heard that like these fraternities, sororities sort of like boost their stories up so people get shook, and they also think that like they're the coolest one on campus.
Yeah.
Are you nervous for what you probably got to do? Because I've spoken about elephant walks, look it up. Mikey might have to be getting down on some of those.
Oh, man.
Are you nervous for what's to come? Or are you just
I look at everybody, like I see like they made it, like people don't really talk about that because it's like confidential information, like that can't be like leaked out there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm fortunate Molly was in a sorority, so she told me some stories.
Oh, shoot.
Girls are probably way more effed up than guys. Shout out to girls because you guys are brutal, and I spoke about this with Davina on the podcast, but girls probably do way more worse stuff just because it's more psychological, I feel like, than guys is more either physical or stuff like that.
They want you to prove your loyalty. They want to see what you'll do for them.
Yep.
But like I said, like you can't really find out information. That's like the cool part of it. Like, oh, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do.
Yep.
And like that's the whole part of it. But like I'm like excited. And, like, not really scared, but, like, anxious because, like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. No,
but,
definitely.
like, I'm sure it's going to be fun. Everybody says it's, like, the worst, best time. Like, it's...
I always just looked at it like this. Is because it's, like, if I've got to earn some of my boys' like friendship like that, and this is just me, you know, it's different for a lot of people, but for me, it's like if I have to earn your respect and trust, like by putting your balls on my head or something like that, like it's a wrap. You're not my boy. Like, but on the flip side of that, it's like, yo, if you do something like that and overcome it, like that bond is probably way more deeper.
That's what's crazy. That's what everybody talks about. Like when you go through pledgeship. And this is like I said, most fraternities, sororities, whatever, at most schools that have Greek life.
I'm listening. I want to make sure we're still recording.
No, you're good.
Just keep, tell.
But whatchamacallit? It's good?
Yeah.
They say that going through pledgeship, however many weeks, whatever you're going through, like, you make that bond with them, like, damn, we just went through, like, living hell with each other. Your boys, like, they'll do anything for you. And my friends, because I have a bunch of friends in fraternities, they repeat that over and over again. And they're all in different fraternities. Like, bro, like, these kids, like, they'll die for you. Like, you're in a bar fight, like, they're in there, they're eating it, like, anything, bro. Anything.
No, I agree. I mean, this happens in marriages. It happens with family members. Mm-hmm. Like, if you lose a family member and you go through that experience of, like, you know, being bedside with your parent or something like that.
No, absolutely.
That bond you build, like the stories you tell each other, is just something that, you know, I guess I'm a little envious of it too, you know, because like I've got relationships with my guy friends, and I feel like it's close, but like we've never really shared deep stories. We've never been in that like rabbit hole together where it's just like
and guys are like that. Like girls are like, oh my god, like they tell each other everything. Like, guys, like it's like masculinity. Like you don't like saying some stuff, you don't like experience some stuff with each other, and like this type of stuff forces you to like go through it.
Be honest with people.
And, that's what's like awesome. That's what I heard is awesome about it.
No, I mean I think that's awesome you're doing it. It's just like it's something that I've always been a sissy, like so I always like when we come watch your football games, I admire people who play football, who put themselves out there, that are like, willing to try things, cuz to me I've never been one to, I've always gotten cut from a sporting team. I was always decent. Don't try and play me in the comment section. I'll still do somebody up in basketball. But like I never put myself out there to be in a fraternity or something like that, because I was just nervous for what to expect. So it's good to have nerves, because even with this channel is like I'm nervous every time I do the podcast, or when I started the channel, because you don't know what to expect. You don't
know what people are gonna react, how it's gonna.
But ultimately, you live one life, so. Why not try something?
Exactly.
So let me switch the subject real quick, because I'm going to give her a shout out, but you have a pretty good relationship. And something that I had throughout college was, a girlfriend, now my wife.
Yeah.
So shout out to Isabel, because she's a big fan of Corin's World.
She is.
But how is it balancing having a girlfriend in college? Because she goes to school also in Alabama, but it's about
it's Sanford, so it's like 45 to an hour.
45 to an hour away. So... because I feel like you guys have a great relationship. But like, what's the key to having a successful relationship throughout college? And in high school, you guys had college. Yeah. And hopefully, you guys continue to have this relationship. One day, be like me and Molly, have a kid.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think the key to a successful relationship is?
A lot of it, especially in college, since like being apart and all that, it's probably number one is trust. You have to trust. When they're saying they're going somewhere, you have to trust who they're saying they're hanging out with, who they're going out with, where they're like, it's all that stuff. And all relationships have its ups and downs. Like, there's probably no relationship that only has upside. Like, of course, it's just it's
how it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's how it is.
I've seen bad relationships with people long distance in college. I've seen this with my boys. It's like they make their girlfriend send them a picture of what they're wearing before they go out and stuff like that. But to me, it's like, if you're just a G and confident, which you are, Isabel seems confident, and you guys just like you said, trust. She's gonna go out with her girlfriends, and guys are gonna hit on her.
I'm not gonna, exactly. I'm not gonna deprive her. Like I said, like you have to trust. Like you have to know that she'll do the right thing.
Yeah.
She has to know that you'll do the right thing.
Yep.
And sometimes you'll be in those situations, like, hey, yo, like this girl came up to me, like she tried to do some weird stuff.
You trying to boost your points? No chicks are walking up to you, bro. Not with the Bieber haircut.
Oh my god.
No, but I feel you. I understand.
Like I'm just saying scenario wise.
Yeah. No, of course.
But like that's gonna happen. It's like kids are drunk. Like you're out. The vibe is just like, shoot your shot.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think that's.
But we make it work.
Yep.
We make it work, honestly. And I've seen I have friends who talk about theirs like, yo, like she's a psycho. Like she does all this crazy stuff.
Yep.
Isabel has her moments, but like so do all girls.
Every girl. But like. It's crazy because, like, I remember how I was in college, and it's just, like, you're 19. Like, from 19, and then when you get to 30, it's just, like, I feel like I've, not trying to, like, toot my own horn or whatever like that, but it's just, like, I see you, and I see just so much, like, promise, and I see your relationship, and it's so, like, it's such a good relationship. I've seen tons that have failed, and I've seen tons that, like, me and Molly that have still worked out. But if you understand... like trust and like just that like things are gonna happen, good and bad. Not to get too high, too low in your problems or whatnot. Like things will work out, but like
absolutely.
But it's tough to have a relationship in college.
Oh yeah.
But it's something that's awesome. So I mean I don't have too much more really like that. You want to ask me anything, bro? Anything about the channel? You got any questions, man?
I don't know. I keep myself up to date. I like what you put up.
Yep. He's sipping on Tito's right now, Tito soda. Shout out to
Handmade,
Tito's. If anybody works for Tito's and wants to be a sponsor of the Corin's World.
I already got a long sleeve t-shirt.
You got a long sleeve. How's your beer pong game? Is it
my form is just like it's like a basketball shot. It's just in sync. It's just like I don't play too much beer pong now.
Well,
honestly. Don't? It's more like, because like the scene at Alabama, it's like everybody in a yard.
Yeah, just walling
doing your thing. Yeah.
Let me ask one more serious question before I let you go.
Yeah, go for it.
I know it's early in college, but like, what ideally? Because this is something I spoke to Jed about, and like, kids sort of don't know maybe what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Do you have a path of maybe like what
Absolutely.
what you?
I mean, I'm not gonna say I have something set because I've heard so many stories. Like, I went to college thinking I was like being an engineer, and totally I came out a teacher.
Yep. Yeah.
Like stuff like that, but I'm really passionate. I've always liked real estate. Not interior design, but like I've always liked seeing stuff like being built, then like the end product. Like I love that. Like I live for that.
Like like architecture type of deal.
Like kind of, but like more specifically, I was thinking about even going to starting off residential real estate development, and then branching off to maybe even commercial. So like doing malls. I mean, stadiums are a big one, but stadiums, like all that stuff.
So let me ask you something. So like, will you start to see if Alabama offers any like like real estate?
Yeah, they have a minor.
Oh, okay.
You could minor in I'm pretty sure it's just called flat out real estate, and they actually just added that as a minor this year. So when I graduate, I'll be able to have a minor in real estate, and then I'm in the business school, which is a great business school. Mm-hmm. It's ranked very high on the list, like nationwide. Mm-hmm. But you can major in finance, general business, like all that type of stuff.
That's dope.
So I don't know what I'm gonna major in, but I definitely want to go take a real estate route.
But it's awesome that you at least understand that like you're gonna dip your toe in that, and that's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. But it might ultimately flip the whole script. Exactly. Maybe you want to get into something totally different.
I think definitely
criminology or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
I think definitely I'll end up, because I always like thought about law, like the stupid like every child like I can argue well with my parents, like I could be a good lawyer, like all that BS.
And you had a tough father who knows every in and out. So if you try to hit him with some,
he was cool though. I didn't even need to hit him in and out. He was just like, oh cool, like you have fun, like that's it. He was chill.
But that happened to Molly. She went to college thinking she was gonna be, I don't know, a psychologist or something like that, and she wanted to do criminology or like whatever that involves, and switched her whole flip to like psychology or something like that.
Yeah, but that happens to like mostly everybody, because college like exposes you to like what these professions like what you have to do on a day-to-day basis. 100%. Like most people go into like thinking that they're going to be a nurse, and then like they have to do all these things, like go to the hospital.
Yep. It happens with law a lot. People want to do law stuff, and then like I mean, it's expensive and then it's a lot of just like school
bar exam.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of testing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, that's all I really got, Mikey. I hope people enjoyed this. I mean, they don't roast you too much. You kept it real.
No, I kept it real. There's no reason to roast me, I hope.
I mean, he's got the fire shirt.
I got some clout going.
I could have took that from him. My brother gave that to him, but that could have been mine, homie. But no, shout out to Mikey. I appreciate you at least coming on and doing this, man.
No, I appreciate you having me.
Shout out to Isabel who will watch this. Shout out to Molly who will edit this.
Yeah.
Shout out to these kids' seats that we're sitting in right now. We're in like a children's room. But
my legs are starting to cramp up.
Appreciate you, homie.
Thank you.
Corin's World, thanks for watching. Subscribe, do whatever you got to do. Keep roasting Kyle on his purple hat, because I told him that's got to go. All right, so peace out.
All right, later.